What's up, YouTube? This is your friendly neighborhood movie nerd, back to give you guys everything going on in the world of movies and TV. Alright, Internet, you got me. I always said I was above trends, but fuck me if I can't be tempted to rage against the machine. Contrary to what the Internet would have you believe, 2016 was not a great year. Not for me personally, and certainly not for the world at large. It was also just a weird year for movies. As compared to 2015, it felt bizarre. Hollywood was going through a major shift, with all of the mid-budget level movies starting to fall through the cracks, Marvel beginning its true dominance over the industry, and the rise of smaller budget studios like A24. It was also the official start of the DCEU's piss-poor attempt at competing with Marvel, putting out Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and David Ayer's infamous Suicide Squad.
So that's it? What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
Certainly a year to remember, and now, 10 years later, I'm going through my top 10 favorite movies of 2016. But before we get started, here are some honorable mentions.
Okay, let's pro-con this superhero thing.
Oh boy. Questions can wait. We need sleep.
S with like a TH, the sound. So instead of saying Spain, they say Spain.
Ride and have no horse. There's no time to be lost.
Well, Lightly should have left this morning.
Oh, no. Don't look at me like that. It's a beautiful cave. She's gonna love it. And I'm going to love you. In my belly.
What are you gonna do now, huh? You better fucking stop!
My uncle used to know a waiter who worked here.
No waiters know about the procedure. They're not allowed inside that room.
Nevertheless, they peel off the skin, which has become soft due to the water in the soap.
You on that path?
Bagheera, I'm not taking one more step.
To read between the lines with this stuff. All the money is made between the lines.
Boogie to the bang bang boogie, let's rock. You don't stop. Rock the rhythm that'll make your body rock. Now so far you've heard my voice, but I brought two friends along.
Put the other hand here, and you just be there. She just wants a little company.
It is likely that they made more. What does Matt State think?
I think we need to get air assets for the National Guard. I think we need a couple additional tactical teams.
But most importantly, there's 2 bathrooms in this place, and one's broken.
Her mother turned her against me, took her off to Chicago. People are strange creatures. You can't always convince them that safety is in their own best interest.
For just one location. There should be McDonald's everywhere, coast to coast, sea to shining sea.
Mr. Croc.
Hey, you know,
Y'all can buy some of my magazines.
So you hopped in the bed of this truck to sell us fucking magazines?
Basically.
What kind of bullshit is that?
Hey, from that giant donut.
This bunny?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Captain America Civil War. This wasn't the peak of the MCU, it was certainly the beginning. The fact that Kevin Feige basically looked at BVS and scrapped the original Captain America 3 plot in place of a slapdash Civil War adaptation, and it worked, still amazes me to this day. But more than that, it's a demonstration of what made Marvel the powerhouse that it was, taking the guerrilla feel of filmmaking and truly letting them work it out on set and making the comic book magic that we all loved. I think that's what's missing from Marvel of now, is that they got their approach down a little bit too perfect, but couldn't make it work for the incoming class. But in 2016, they had it down just right, so much so that they were starting to pivot more mature and more grandiose. Right after dealing with Ultron, the Avengers get dealt another blow with a forced registration splitting them down the middle, with Captain America and Iron Man leading the opposing sides while a silent puppet master pulls the strings from the shadows. While not a super faithful adaptation of the Civil War comic, it did what Marvel did best at the time, loosely adapting the structure of the story while reformatting it to fit its current structure. It gave us some of the best action at the MCU at that point, introduced us to Black Panther and Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and laid the groundwork for the Russos to pull off the subsequent 2 Avengers movies, while also continuing to show Chris Evans' maturation as the star-spangled super stud. Its cultural relevance continues to this day, as we're going to see Evans return in Avengers Doomsday, and we'll always remember that airport fight. We're with you till the end of the line. Rogue One. So I could easily lean back on the success of Andor's justification for having this on the list, but I'm not going to, because I knew this was a masterpiece when I saw it Christmas of 2016, and history has been on my side ever since, with easily one of the best reemergences into the pop culture this century that I had ever seen. I appreciate Kennedy's decision to zag even more now in hindsight, as their decision to go darker and more mature with Star Wars was one that the franchise desperately needed. In the times we live in now, art like this only grows more relevant, and Rogue One centers this around Jyn and her rectifying her past with the current mission to save millions against the backdrop of a rebel group's last stand against the overwhelming might of the Empire. It was a galaxy far, far away in a new, dirty, grimy, mature light, and one that has continued to benefit it to this day as these kinds of stories, not just in Star Wars, but across all of pop culture, continue continue to demonstrate the swing away from the elite to the commoners. Plus the greatest use of Darth Vader in anything, ever. Silence. Easily Martin Scorsese's most criminally underrated film. Cushioned between two juggernauts, this one slipped through the cracks of what might be his best, certainly his most commercial decade of work. Silence, while still maintaining the bulk of his later films, trades in the palm for a much more quiet and introspective look at humanity and the battle for its collective soul. Set in the 17th century, two Jesuit priests played by Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver traveled to Japan to locate their missing mentor and continue his mission of spreading Christianity, at a time when the shogunate was in open war with it. Unlike his previous films, which seemed to revel in the violence, this one is slow and makes you feel the torture and endurance of the spirit against the crushing weight of both tyranny and spiritual subjugation. I still think about the men strapped to the crosses drowning in the waves, or Adam Driver's emaciated corpse being drowned. It takes something as simple as stepping on a stone and turns it into a life or death scenario, truly taking the idea of faith to a new level. It's an underrated gem in Scorsese's filmography and one of my personal favorites of his. The Nice Guys. If there's any such thing as a cult classic from this decade, it's this one. Shane Black's follow to the commercially successful, critically confused Iron Man 3 was spiritually in line with his debut, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Only this time, it's a period piece, it's got Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, and it's colorful as hell. This movie truly is gorgeous to look at with the perfectly recreated 70s, right down to the shady voiceover noir homage. I love the turnaround this had from being an underperformer in theaters to a massive hit once it started circulating online. Gosling and Crowe have perfect chemistry together, between Crowe's brute force, no-nonsense, take-no-prisoners approach versus Gosling's goofy, physically intense, genius disaster case of a character. It's a classic noir done with that 21st century zing approach, and the memes and clips that come from this movie have given this the love it missed when released. I mean, the Ryan Gosling scream when his arm gets broken. Hell or High Water. It's surreal looking back at this, knowing the titan that Taylor Sheridan has become. From playing a sheriff in the first two seasons of Sons of Anarchy to writing the most intense crime thriller the year before, he showed a real fascinating hybrid modern traditional look at the West here that he capitalized on in his move to TV 2 years later. But it all started with this one, the story of two brothers committing a series of bank robberies and the Texas sheriff trying to catch them. It wears its influences on its sleeve, but it's not trying to openly be anything that it isn't. It's the classic story of people trying to push past their circumstances while also mourning a time that's left them all behind. Chris Pine, Ben Foster, and Jeff Bridges form an indelible trio, and it's one that ought not to be forgotten. Manchester by the Sea. Only the Afflecks and Matt Damon could make subject matter like this funny and endearing. One of the most depressing movies ever made. This marked a return to collaborating, the likes of which Matt and Ben hadn't done in quite a while, as Matt had been bouncing around different projects after his two signature franchises ended, and Ben won Best Picture and got cast as Batman. But in between all that, they produced this movie, with Kenneth Lonergan writing and directing and Casey starring in a tale of endurance and moving past tragedy. Affleck's Lee Chandler, living in isolation and depressed due to a recent tragedy, is confronted with a new responsibility when his brother dies, leaving him to take care of his teenage nephew Patrick, played by a breakout Lucas Hedges. It's a story of redemption, as Lee finds himself reliving the awful night that ruined his life, his marriage, and his ability to not see the worst in the world. But it's a guiding light to all those who've experienced tragedy of this magnitude, saying that there is a way back. You just have to find it. Swiss Army Man. This one's an odd duck because of its placement on the list, but lest we not forget, it's the debut of the Daniels, the Oscar-winning Everything Everywhere All at Once Daniels. But before they were eating Marvel's lunch with multiversal shenanigans and making Ratatouille jokes, they were mixing up Weekend at Bernie's with Castaway in a movie about a man stranded on a desert island who befriends a talking, farting corpse, played by Harry Potter himself. This movie ruled. It's such a simple tale about friendship, and in the days before A24 decided to try and become the new Miramax, its movies were so personal, in such an intimate way, and this and one other movie on this list truly put that on display. Through their travels, Hank and Manny talk about life, what one could do to get the best out of it, what they did wrong in their life, how their experiences compare, since technically Manny hasn't experienced life at all yet. It's a movie that will leave you just feeling good afterwards, while also having a fun, bizarro journey along the way. Nocturnal Animals. Our introduction to Tom Ford, the director. And, well, I understand why he is so successful at fashion if he puts in this much attention to detail. What I love about this movie so much is that it purposefully confuses you with the end of its narratives. Plural. You have to go back and rewatch to make sure you didn't miss anything. It's a riddle inside of a maze inside of an enigma, telling three dueling, intertwined stories. Amy Adams' Susan Morrow receives a present from her ex-boyfriend, a copy of his novel. We then see the events within the novel played out in real time, with Jake Gyllenhaal pulling double duty as the scorned ex in real life and the grieving fictional father forced to witness unspeakable things done to his wife and daughter. On top of that, you've got the flashback narrative, showing what happened between Susan and her ex. It's a complex, weaving web of narrative that requires very close attention and truly shows the worst that humanity has to offer. But once you see how it all fits together, it creates for a truly rewarding experience. Just because the answers aren't all nice and laid out doesn't mean they don't reward when presented clearly. Sing Street. This one's a personal favorite of mine. My introduction to John Carney, sure, but this was something more. This was a lonely, confused 19-year-old discovering something that spoke to his soul. The story of a teen guitar player in 80s Ireland having just moved to a new school, and in an attempt to impress the girl he sees standing across the street, decides to start a band. Sometimes it's as simple as that. This movie just makes you want to sing. It makes you want to throw your hair back, jam out, and forget about life for a little bit. There's something always so quaint about Irish set films, and this is no exception. I also hate musicals, so it says something about this that I have it this high on the list. I still listen to the soundtrack to this day. I know all the songs, every single word. So yeah, this one's a special one to say the least. And if not for my number one, would probably be my favorite of the year. Moonlight, the first of only 3 times that my number one movie of the year won Best Picture. Not only that, this one has the added bonus of being the subject of one of the Oscars' sillier controversies, the infamous Best Picture envelope swap. None of that takes away from the powerful aura of Barry Jenkins' deeply personal tale of a young black male trying to find his way through a time and place that felt like it was actively trying to make sure he only turned out one way. Deeply rooted in the idea of the 3-act structure as both text and subtext, representing 3 separate stories told across long periods of time in Chiron's life. It's open, it's raw, it's honest, it's not afraid to show pain. Every revelation here hurts. Every performance just gets more raw as time goes on. It shows the punishing but sometimes rewarding effects that time has on a person, especially when they stay in one place their whole life. Chiron is played stupendously across all 3 timelines by Alex Hibbert, Ashton Sanders, and Trevante Rhodes, and it won Mahershala Ali his first Oscar for playing Chiron's father figure, Juan. It truly earned its Best Picture win despite the kerfluffle, as well as being my number one favorite movie of 2016. And that was it. Those are my top 10 favorite movies of 2016. I cannot believe that 2016 is 10 years old this year. I remember that year very, very differently than most people, but sure, people can enjoy it. They can look back with fondness, whatever. But what were your guys' favorite movies from 2016? Did I miss any both in my list and in the honorable mentions? I'm sure a lot of people are mad that I don't have La La Land in there, but whatever, it's my list. Whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comment section below, and be sure to give this video a like and subscribe, and be sure to also check me out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. And as always, people, 12 seasons in a short film, and watch more fucking movies. We'll see you guys next time.